Mukhang madali lang ah. Magaya nga. Mali. Ba't ganun? Ano ba ang mga drawing techniques na pwedeng gamitin? These are the types of drawing techniques. But before we discuss this, what is the drawing techniques? So it is a skills and method artists use to create different effects, styles, and visual elements in a drawing such as shading, texture, proportion, and perspective. So what are the drawing techniques to apply to your drawing?
First is the sighting and measuring.
Sighting and measuring is a technique that artists use to improve the accuracy of their drawings. It helps them measure the proportion or the size relationship of one part of a subject to another. Sighting measuring can be done with any tool, but the most common and simplest tool is the pencil. It also helps artists to train their eyes to see more balanced and realistic art.
Next, the grid technique. The grid method makes drawing easier by breaking up the subject into small areas. A grid is placed on a reference photo and a similar grid is drawn gently on the paper. Each square on the reference corresponds to a square on the paper, making lines, shapes, and values easier, suitable for any subject. It's particularly good for precise portraits. Draw grid lines slightly so they erase after completing the drawing.
Grid? Paano ginagawa yun?
Let me show you how to do it.
So first, you need at least 21 rows and 16 columns. Using rulers to make a boxes. You may use this up to make a grid lines to your drawing. From this to this. And you have guidelines to your drawing. Pero, ang daming lines. Nakakatamad. Wala bang ibang alternative?
The other alternative to grid technique is the triangular grid technique. The triangular grid method provides a different way of doing less frequent gridding with more skills. On the reference photograph and drawing surface, a triangular grid is made by dividing the length and width and sketching diagonal lines from both corners, making 8 triangles. Readings are made from the reference with a compass or a proportional divider and carried over onto the drawing surface. Nothing where important details meet the grid lines. These marks are used to draw the subject's contours, like connecting the dots. Though adaptable, this method excels at portrait work.
Next technique is identifying basic shape and positive and negative spaces.
What is basic shapes and positive and negative spaces, and how to identify them? To identify basic shapes and positive negative spaces, define the positive space as the subject or main elements of an artwork, and the negative space as the background or area surrounding the subject. Everything that you see here in our surroundings have different shapes, just like the tree over there. The tree itself is the positive space. And the area surrounding the tree is the negative space.
Next technique is linear perspective.
Linear perspective is a system of creating an illusion of depth on a flat surface. There are three types of linear perspective. One-point perspective. Used when you're looking straight at the front of something. It has one vanishing point on the horizon. Two-point perspective. Used when looking at the corner of something. It has two vanishing points on the horizon. Three-point perspective. Used when looking from above or below an object. It has three vanishing points. Two on the horizon and one either above or below.
Next technique is the basic proportion.
Even though every faces looks different, there are some general rules that artists follow to make sure the features are placed in the right position. These guidelines help artists to approximate the measurements like the eyes, nose, and other face structures. In other words, basic facial proportion is like a guide to help artists sketch a good portrait.
The last technique is the figure information in drawing.
This basic information in the figure demonstrates the correct equality of the body part. It can turn everything to life like drawings. Catcher's drawing saves a quick method to capture the pose, the dynamics of the figure. We can band the hair by the correction of the drawings that are both phrases of the shape and varied expression.
Here the example.
Firstly, find the line of action of your object. Next, find the key points of your object. Put an X to know what is the center of your object. And lastly, add simple shapes for your guy in your drawing. Now, we see all the techniques that we can use for drawing. Even na nahihirapan tayo, we can use those techniques to make our drawing accurate in reference and also to improve our drawing skills. Always reminder,
sa umpisa lang mahirap. But, if you practice yourself, it can improve. And also, those techniques can make your guide para di ka mahirapan, di ba? And now, kahit hindi mo naman magamit itong mga techniques na ito, you can use your own art style and also your skills. Sabi nga nila, may sarili-sarili tayong katangian. And also, in drawing din, may sarili-sarili tayong mga art style. And that's all. I hope nakatulong itong mga techniques na ito para mag-improve ang iyong mga drawing skills. And that's all. And thank you and bye-bye.
First,
The other
alternative. Here example.